This is the CBI crisis in the Supreme Court marathon hearing that has been on, with the Supreme Court now reserving its order in this case as far as the CBI chief and the sudden midnight decision that was taken by the government to divest him of powers prematurely, even before he finished his official 2-year term. The hearing has concluded here in this case. We have with us our Deputy News Editor Meenakshi Bhanja getting us further inputs here on when we're expecting the final word to be out here on this by the Supreme Court. But it has been a day, Meenakshi, effectively of absolute slamming of the central government on the manner in which they've dealt with this. Meenakshi, is my voice going through, please? Okay, we're going to be reconnecting. We seem to have lost that audio link here. Reconnecting with Meenakshi on that in just a bit. But this is an important development here coming in. This was regarding the hearing of the case of the CBI chief, wherein which the CBI chief Alok Verma has all along been questioning the government's decision in that dramatic overnight sudden crackdown in deciding, in also superseding the existing panel which should have officially decided the fate of the CBI chief. The government independently taking that step and deciding to divest the CBI chief Alok Verma of his powers. Several reasons that have been given out by the central government, being represented by the Attorney General K.K. Venugopal. They're arguing that there was massive infighting, there were corruption charges against him as well, but eventually, finally, yesterday saying that there was infighting which was damaging the image of the CBI, which is why he was asked to go. But it's important to note, on what the law has already established, the CBI chief should be completing 2 years of his term. And the government cannot independently be taking that decision without a panel which is already in place to take that call on the fate of the CBI chief. Our Deputy News Editor Meenakshi Bhanja with these inputs here. Meenakshi, when are we expecting the Supreme Court to finally announce their final decision here on this?
Well, Seher, big breaking news development. The Supreme Court has gone ahead and reserved its judgment on these batch of pleas that were filed by Alok Verma, also Common Cause and others, which is challenging government's decision of this major crackdown on Alok Verma, divesting him of his powers. We will learn of the pronouncement of judgment one evening in advance, as is tradition and procedure. But clearly the judges will take a bit of time, because remember, voluminous submissions have been made with regards to the demarcation of powers that really the government has exercised. We have seen and heard from the government of India how, again today, reiterate this was an extraordinary situation needing extraordinary remedy, and CVC superintendence over CBI encompasses the element of surprise and extraordinary situation. That apart, hugely interesting observations coming in from Honorable Justice Ranjan Gogoi when he wanted to understand from the government here being represented by Tushar Mehta, making a representation from for CVC, Honorable Chief Justice of India's observation to Tushar Mehta, and I quote here: "Essence of every government administration is to do what is acceptable. If there are two options, one acceptable, another more acceptable, what stopped the government from taking the more acceptable option?" Unquote. So clearly, this is something which the Honorable Chief Justice of India has applied a lot of his mind to. Because remember, another hugely interesting aspect is, before the Supreme Court gets into the merits of the CVC inquiry report on Alok Verma, it has made it very clear that the first thing that it will decide is whether this crackdown, divesting Alok Verma of his powers, was something which was even tenable in law. And today, it has been Fali Nariman who has again reiterated as to how the government government was in the know of a rift since July. So why did the government proceed in this manner, in such a hasty manner, in an overnight crackdown? So that also has come in for discussion. And again, Honorable Chief Justice of India's noteworthy observation today to Tushar Mehta. So why was this high-powered committee or panel, its nod, not taken by the CBC and government before it proceeded on this course of action? So hugely interesting developments on this one. We've heard also towards the end today from Mr. Kapil Sibal making a representation for Mallikarjun Kharge. Remember, he is one person who is a part of that high-powered panel, which comprises Prime Minister of India, Honorable Chief Justice of India, and Leader of Opposition, which is who is Mallikarjun Kharge. And then we have also heard from Dushyant Dave for Common Cause, besides other councils who have made their respective submissions. So clearly this is a case which has so many overtures, Seher. It has gone on to assume so many layers, and for the government of India this is very, very high stake. And today's line of questioning has been very tough coming in from the Supreme Court, and this outcome will go on to determine whether the Supreme Court of India is putting its stamp of approval to that midnight crackdown which has divested Alok Verma of his powers. And again, in the words of Fali Nariman today, transfer of responsibilities also constitutes a transfer. So that argument which the government had said that where has there been a transfer of Alok Verma, for all practical purposes he continues to retain the designation of Director CBI, except that he no longer has powers to discharge his functions because he and another senior CBI officer were engaging in a public spat and fighting like Kilkenny cats.
All right, Meenakshi, many thanks. Many thanks. Effectively, what you've tried to explain, absolute fireworks, so to say, at the Supreme Court today on this case. We'll have to leave it at that.